the man who couldn't look into the mirror. I always believed I was a good person, quiet, soft hearted, someone who cared about others. People used to look at me and say, this guy could never hurt anyone. And I would smile because people only see the version of us we choose to show them. The real person appears in the dark, when the room is silent, when the phone is on mute, and every buried noise inside the heart begins to wake up. I had that noise inside me too, a very old noise, but I kept burying it beneath distractions, sometimes beneath laughter, sometimes beneath fake happiness, sometimes beneath sleepless nights, and sometimes beneath relationships I only held on to because I was afraid of loneliness. But some truths never stay buried. They keep breathing, slowly turning into poison inside you, until one day you begin suffocating inside your own soul. That's exactly what happened to me. I laughed around people while quietly drowning inside. Everyone thought my life was fine, but the truth was I had been running from myself for years. I still remember that night. It was raining. Raindrops kept crashing against the window. I stood in front of the mirror and for the first time, my own face looked unfamiliar. It felt like the mirror was asking me, who are you really? And I had no answer because I had spent years performing, playing a version of myself people would love. Someone strong, someone unbreakable, someone who never cried. But humans are not stone, and neither was I. There was pain inside me, jealousy, anger, bitterness, and the most dangerous thing of all, hatred toward myself. I kept comparing myself to others. Whenever someone succeeded, I smiled outside while burning inside. Someone else's happiness felt like proof of my own failure. I never wanted to admit that because we all want to believe we are good people. But truth is more brutal than ego. And the truth was, I was broken. A person desperate for attention, for love, for validation. And whenever I didn't receive those things, something inside me slowly died. I hurt many people, not loudly, quietly, through indifference, through selfishness, through pride. I pushed away everyone who started knowing the real me because I was terrified. What if they saw my darkness? What if they realized I wasn't as strong as I pretended to be? That fear turned me fake. I was everywhere, but real nowhere. I had friends, but I was lonely. I had people around me, but no peace. And one day I realized something terrifying. A person does not lose to the world, a person loses to himself. That night changed my life. For the first time, I stopped lying to myself. For the first time, I admitted I wasn't okay. For the first time, I accepted the darkness inside me. And strangely, the pain became lighter. But the story didn't end there because the real poison was still waiting. And a person's greatest enemy is often their past. And mine was about to return. The doors of the past never truly close. I always tried to forget the past, but the past never leaves. It hides in your voice, in your silences, in your sleepless nights, And sometimes in the dark circles beneath your eyes, the emptiness inside me did not appear overnight. Its roots were old, very old, from childhood. I remember growing up in a house full of noise but empty of warmth. Everything was compared: grades, habits, personalities, and eventually people themselves. I was often told, "Look at others. Why can't you be like them?" It sounded like a simple sentence, but it started a war inside me. I never felt enough. I spent my entire life chasing a better version of myself. And somewhere in that race, I lost the real one. I became addicted to validation. I wanted people to notice me, to admire me, to call me special. That hunger became my drug. And addictions never bring peace, only temporary numbness. Then they leave an even bigger emptiness behind. During college, I met a girl. She was different. She understood me without words. She could see the pain hidden behind my fake smiles. For the first time, I felt truly seen. But strangely, we often hurt the people who understand us the most. And I did exactly that. I could never fully trust her. I remained emotionally unavailable. Whenever she came closer, I stepped away. Whenever she asked questions, I went silent. Whenever she gave love, I responded with doubt. Because deep inside, I never believed I deserved love. One night, she looked at me and said, "You are not fighting the world. You are fighting yourself." I laughed, but she was right. And truth always hurts. A few months later, she left. Quietly, without blame, without drama, just silence. And that was the day I realized something. Relationships are not always destroyed by screams. Sometimes indifference kills them first. After she left, I changed even more. I buried myself in work. Sleepless nights became normal. I stayed surrounded by people while growing emptier every day. Until one day, I began hating the sound of my own voice. I looked into the mirror and saw someone fake, a hypocrite, someone soft on the outside and shattered within. I tried everything to fix myself: motivational videos, self-help books, fake positivity. But poison inside the soul does not disappear through pretty words. To heal, you must stand in front of your wounds, and I was a coward. I kept running from my own pain. Then one day, my father became seriously ill. I still remember the smell of that hospital, the white walls, the silent hallways, the sound of machines breathing for tired people. I sat beside him when I realized something. Life is terrifyingly short, so short that people spend years protecting their ego only to end up with regret. My father looked at me weakly and said, "Son, people do not become tired physically first. They become tired inside." I stayed silent because I had already been exhausted inside for years. That same night, I stood alone on the hospital rooftop. The city lights stretched endlessly beneath me. And behind every light, there was probably another hidden story, another silent pain, another secret truth. And standing there, I realized something for the first time. I had spent my entire life asking for approval from people, from relationships, from the world, but I had never accepted myself. I had always been angry at who I was, and that anger slowly turned into poison. That night, I cried, maybe for the first time in years, but those were not tears of weakness. They were tears of confession. For the first time, I was finally seeing myself without excuses, without lies, without masks, and the truth was horrifying. I had lost myself inside my own life. But after every distraction, one question remains: what now? And that question became the beginning of my new life. The day a person finally tells himself the truth. Healing is not beautiful. Sometimes healing means facing every darkness inside you, admitting your mistakes, burying your pride, and mourning the person you used to be. That's what I started doing slowly, painfully. I began speaking less to people and more to myself. At night, I would walk alone for hours, no music, no phone, only my thoughts. At first, there was chaos inside me: regret, shame, memories, failures. But eventually, something changed. The noise became quieter, and within that silence, I finally heard my real voice. It was soft, but honest. It whispered, "You were never truly evil. You were wounded." And hearing that broke me, because sometimes we mistake our wounds for our identity. We forget that pain is not who we are. It is only something we survived. I started apologizing, first to myself, then to the people I had hurt through my silence. Some forgave me, some didn't. And for the first time, I accepted that not everything returns. Some people only remain as lessons. I used to fear loneliness, but now I learned how to sit beside it. Because loneliness can either destroy you or rebuild you. It depends on whether you run from yourself inside it or finally try to find yourself. Slowly, I walked away from fake worlds. Fewer people, less noise, less pretending, and strangely, peace started growing. I realized maturity is not about speaking more, it is about explaining yourself less. Not every battle deserves your energy. Not every person deserves your performance. And not every relationship is meant to survive. Some endings save us. One day, I stood in front of the same mirror again. Same room, same face. But this time, I didn't look away. Because for the first time, I finally knew who I was. I was not perfect. I still am not. There is still fear inside me, weakness, mistakes, but I no longer hide them. Because the more a person runs from his darkness, the bigger it becomes. And once he finally faces it, the darkness slowly begins losing its power. Now, sometimes I watch people laughing, smiling, looking happy, and I wonder, maybe every person is fighting a hidden war. Maybe everyone carries some poison inside them, an old wound, an unfinished question, a buried fear. And maybe that is why we should be softer with each other. Because not every quiet person is heartless. Some people are simply exhausted inside. Even now, there are nights when I wake up thinking about the past. Some faces still hurt. Some words still leave scars. But the difference is, I no longer run. I sit with those feelings. Because healing does not mean destroying pain. It means learning how to live beside it. And maybe that is life's bitterest truth. A person never becomes completely healed. He simply begins understanding himself better. I wasted years trying to become good enough for other people. But peace finally found me the day I tried becoming honest with myself. And the truth is this: reality is not always beautiful. Sometimes reality is poison. But that same poison wakes you up, breaks you, and then slowly turns you into someone new. I am no longer the person I used to be. Maybe not better, but at least now I am real. And sometimes that alone is freedom.